What's up, everybody? This is Dear New Orleans You, episode 3. As promised, I should say this. We're going to talk about dating, but we're going to talk about a little more than dating. So this episode is about healthy relationships. And as you can see, we have a familiar face today. And I'm going to shout out our girl, Raven. I know you don't know me yet, Raven. It's going to be very nice to meet you. But this video for you, sis. I got you on the next one. But I'll have our guest introduce herself again and say her age. And then the question for today is, what is something you want to accomplish this week?
Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Iyhana, as you know. And I'm 15, about to be 16. January 30th. Hello. What is something I want to accomplish this week? Get over my sadness about not having my mom come to my sweet 16 and be able to write like in my journal.
That's good, girl. You went dug deep for that one. Oh, okay. I feel like this must be a deep conversation. I thought you was just gonna be like, get through this week of school, not fall asleep in class. That's all I wait for one of them. I feel it. Yeah. I feel that deepness. Well, I'm Jarita, Coach J, Miss J, all that good stuff. I'm not telling y'all my age. I'm in my 20s. That's good enough. And something I want to accomplish this week is to make it to Friday without complaining. If I do that, I have won the week. So like I said earlier, today we're going to talk about healthy relationships. That's dating, that's friendships, and in your family. So for you, what do you think a healthy dating relationship looks like?
I think a healthy dating relationship looks like being able to go to that person, being comfortable around them, and strong communication, because I feel as though with any relationship, communication is key. And being able to trust that person.
Yeah, they say if you don't have trust, you don't have anything. So
right,
that's what's up. Do you think your friend relationships look the same as what you just described, or do you think it's different?
It's different without the intimacy, but it's the same because I've had like friend relationships where it's been mixed communication and us not talking enough, and we kind of like departed from each other in a way. And we was on the same level. It was like some of the stuff that she'll do made me like not trust her. And so our relationship wasn't the same. So I feel as though it's the same in some ways. So
that's good. And what about family relationships?
Look. I'm gonna tell you.
I'm about to roll on the floor.
Family relationships, it's its own category, because it's a lot that come into it, and it's a lot maturing when it's in a family relationship. Because I feel as though like when I was younger, I was oblivious to all the stuff that my family would do, but now as I got older and I realized some of the stuff they do, it's very like
okay.
So I feel like that's very different.
In what ways? So it's very different. So you spoke to trust and being comfortable around somebody and communication. In what ways is the family relationship different? And like, I'm gonna ask this question in 2 ways. In what ways is it different, like characteristic wise? And then the second half of the question is how does that affect you and how you see relationships with your friends and your significant other?
I don't know. I need to think not like unbiased for the situation, because
the point is not to think unbiased. It's your story to tell.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to be like practical. It's your experience. Like what makes it different? outside of like you mentioned trust, you mentioned communication, you mentioned being comfortable with people. Like, what makes it different?
Because like with friendships and stuff, it's like you just getting to know a person. With some relationships, like some friendships.
Hold on. Wonderful. Go back to what you were saying.
I feel like it's different because with friendships and stuff, you get more comfortable. And all right, so with my family situation, I feel like it's different because it's hard for me to go to my family because like I've been raised with, if you're a child, you stay in a child's place, and adults don't really listen to what you have to say. And so it's just
Y'all, we having a hard time today. I did not pick the best location. I was trying to be cute and be outside, but we about to do the rest of these videos inside. All right, y'all, we're back. We just a little trouble today, but it's all right. Trying to make the best of this pretty sunshine that's outside. But you were saying that how you were taught, or rather, you didn't feel comfortable going to your family members to talk to them because you were taught that a child stays in a child's place.
Yeah, and you really didn't have no room to really voice your opinion. And I feel like with a friendship, you can't do that because it's like basically like you're equal in a sense. So, and then if you're like in an unhealthy relationship with your family, it's hard to trust them in a sense. Yeah, that's why I feel like it's different. Okay. Because you can talk to your friends any kind of way you want, but with your family, it's like you on edge about a lot of stuff, and so you just sit there quietly because you don't know what to say. So it's kind of hard with family relationship.
That's it. I think the second part to that question is, how do you feel like that has, like those interactions or experiences with your family has like translated over into how you deal with your friends and your boyfriend? Whether it's positively or negatively, like what are some things that you could think about right now that is like, oh, I do this because like this is what I know, or I do this because I don't want this to happen, type of stuff.
Okay, so basically, like with my friendship of like I was dating somebody and they would basically like try to talk over me or something like that, and I feel as though they're not listening, I'll probably walk away from the situation. I'll just sit there and like let my voice be heard. And the reason why I do that is because like when I was talking to my man and stuff, and I feel like I wasn't getting nowhere, I would just walk away before I got into an argument. But like if I felt as though it was really important for me to know that she heard me, I would sit there and help her understand where I'm coming from. So communication, that was from my family to like other relationships. And also, I feel like with people walking over you and stuff, with your family, if you've been in like a bad family relationship, it shows you a lot on what you do not want in other relationships in your life, because it brings you down. Because if it's your family doing it, it takes a piece of you, because you're like, these are people that are supposed to build me and lift me up. And so when you see other relationships doing that in your life, it changes you. It does.
That's real. So we're gonna switch gears for just a minute. We're gonna see if it's longer than a minute, but just a minute. Why do you think that today, like on social media and society, why do you think that there's such an emphasis on being toxic or being in a toxic relationship? So like that I don't need nobody mentality. Like if you make me mad, it's forget you, I'm just gonna do this on my own. Like why do you think that there is such a, like that's the stuff that get all the hype. That's the stuff that get all the attention.
Because a lot of people relate to that. Because a lot of people these days, speaking for myself again, have been brought up in toxic households. And so if you feel that way towards your family, you're not going to care about outsiders. And so I've had a lot of people be like, oh, I'm gonna be toxic because that's the best way because nobody not gonna hurt me, and it's like that's just the mindset of probably they had a mom or dad or auntie, and they loved a lot, but they felt as though them being distant and stuff would make them like not get hurt and stuff. Basically, like put up a wall. I feel as though, and a lot of people have put up walls from bad family situation, and a lot of like underlying stuff comes from family relationships, bad family relationships. So that's where that comes from. Definitely. Definitely.
Do you believe that in order for you to have a healthy relationship, or do you believe that in order for you to have healthy relationships with other people, you got to have a healthy relationship with yourself first?
Definitely, because if you don't love yourself, how you gonna love somebody else?
Okay.
That's really like, and that's a big thing with me now. Like, okay, I like people and stuff like that, but like when they start getting serious and stuff, I back up a little bit because I know that I'm not in tune with myself all the way, and so I have a lot of insecurities within myself that I sometimes put on people and then mess up my relationships with people. So I feel as though you have to be good with yourself first or to date anybody else, because people see that and they will use that and they will run over you. But if you enter time with yourself and you love yourself, you're not going to let nobody mess over you. You're not going to dumb yourself down for other people's expectations of you because you already don't know who you are. So that lessens a chance of getting ran over. That lessens your chance of people hurting you more or like dimming down your how you look at yourself. So definitely, yeah.
Okay, as a teenager, you don't have much control over your environment, right? So you kind of live in the environment that's provided for you. In most cases, some young adults, like that's their environment. Like they don't have the means to get out of that, whatever the situation is. How do you, or how did you, and how do you still be intentional about making sure that you're in tune with yourself? Like, what are some things that you do when you having a bad day? Like, how do you try to switch yourself back to like, all right, I'm not gonna stick. Like, I'm a have these emotions for a second, but I'm a be good in a minute.
Like as I started going to therapy and stuff, I talked to my therapist, it started making me realize all problems are not permanent. It may feel that way, but it's not. And so I gloom in my own despair sometimes, but then I realize like I'm gonna get better. This is not a permanent situation if I don't make it a permanent situation. So I just feel like the mindset of it gets better. And sometimes I write good things about myself and I just reread it, or I just look at pictures in my phone and look at like my life is great even though I'm having a bad situation right now. I can overcome this. So I think that helps.
Do you think that unhealthy relationships play a role in or let me back up. Do you think that social media spills over into people relationships, whether it's your friendship, whether it's your family, whether it's with a significant other, and it taints the relationship?
Definitely, because nowadays people they go to social media for a lot of things, and they have to realize, okay, what's going on in social media, it can like relate to your situation, but it's not that. You do not base your relationship off of stuff that's happening that you cannot control in the world. And so I feel like that messed it up, because you could probably see a quote or something, you be like, oh, this is that, and it probably not be that. Or you see like other people's relationships, you be like, oh, this is what I want. You don't know what's happening behind the scenes, so you cannot base any relationship that's happening on the internet towards your life. So
Because it's different. I'm gonna bring it back to last episode. My boy Amaya said it's fake. I better watch that stuff y'all like. Because
it's very fake, because then you see these power couples and then they break up and you be like, oh my God, I never thought they would break up. And then all the stuff that's coming and you be like, I never knew that happened. And y'all basing y'all lives around people that don't even know you.
I know people who are slightly older than I am who was scared to get married because of what they saw in other people's relationships.
That's not real.
And so I know that it's a very real thing, but I just wanted to know your perspective. Boy, Mother Nature is not on our side today. Boy, this video is gonna be some choppy, but it's all good. I wanted to ask another question, but it's slipping my brain. So this video might be a little short. Cause Sister Raven, you know, that's the last time I mentioned your name, sis. That's all right. We're gonna have the whole crew on here. Raven, Iyhana, your name was mentioned too, sis. I just wanted to let y'all know that I'm coming for you. Oh, don't worry. You gonna get your chance. You gonna be on here. Got plenty of opportunity. But as we close out, we're gonna close it out because it's gonna be a lot of editing. Do you have anything you want to add before we close it out?
Yeah, it just crossed my mind too. I feel like a lot of my relationships went wrong in my life is because I compare a lot of times. So, with my relationship with my mama, I compare it to other relationships, like with my nanny and stuff. And you have to separate the two because that's two different people. And I feel like relationships go bad with that. And also, looking at my life, I've had a lot of bad relationships.
It happens.
Yeah, it does.
Everything is either a lesson or a blessing. You just gotta take it for what it is sometimes. That little brain going, huh?
It is, like, 'cause I'm just thinking, like, wow. A lot of my stuff roots back from my family relationships, and I feel as though, I don't want to talk about this topic because they have different parenting skills. But also, I feel as though, okay, from somebody who's had a toxic parent household, and they've had a toxic, like my parents have had a toxic parent. Do not try to raise your kids off the aspect of how your parents raised you, because you're just continuing a cycle, a bad cycle. And yeah, so when I have kids, that's not now.
Child, I ain't worried about you having no kids. Because, baby, as long as that address is what it is, I wish you would bring a child up in there.
But I feel like the biggest thing that I want to do when I do become a parent is break the cycle. That's a big thing for me. And teach my kids about mental health and basically grow them up with a good family relationships. And probably that will help them realize that you don't need people in your life that's going to make you feel like you less than what you are. Friendships when you are eye-opening, because you're like, okay, my family did this, and when they did this bad thing, it didn't make me feel right, so that means you cannot do this to me because my family did not allow it to happen to me. And so I feel like building that.
Ooh, I lied, y'all, because I got another question that just came to me when you said that. Ooh, so you, in saying that, do you think that so I'm gonna tell you what I believe. I believe that humans were created for connection. Like, we're not meant to be alone, hugged up in a corner by ourselves. Like, it's not what we're meant to do. That's not how we're meant to be. But it is important to have healthy connections with people and healthy relationships with people. do you think that a lot of times, because of previous relationships, whatever type of relationship, family, friends, dating, whatever, do you think that we go into situations looking for validation because we didn't get it from a previous relationship? And let me use an example. Like, in dating, a lot of times boys may do things to impress girls because they didn't get that type of validation at home, or girls will do things to impress boys because they didn't get that type of validation at home, or people will do things to try and make people like them, like make the popular friends like them, or become friends with this certain group because they want to be laughed at, like they want to feel love. Do you feel like more times than we probably like to admit, we do things for validation versus just like connecting with people who we really just connect with?
Yes. So, like with me, all my life, like, I wanted love. And I seen that, like, other people, they had it. And it's just like, when you get, like, a little, like, feeling of it, you long for it even more. And so, a lot of people look for validation. And because they don't care how they get it, it's bad.
Hella fine.
Yes. Oh my God, I'm just thinking, like, I used to do that so much until I started realizing the only person who really gonna validate my emotions the most is myself. Even though you don't want to think like that, it's the best way to think, because everybody not going to be able to give you that love that you want, and you can't get mad when they don't want to give it to you. And when they do give it to you, you can't get mad because they probably giving it to you the way that they learned it, and it probably wasn't the right way. So I started realizing I can't seek validation from a lot of people because a lot of people don't know. So they probably act off of what they seen, what they heard, what they think is right. So before I mess myself up in the future, I'd rather love myself than anybody else love me.
Let me tell you something, child. I told you this the last time. As long as you continue to have that type of mindset, like, you will be further ahead than I was, because it took me a hot minute to get there. It's like, but it took me a minute to get there. It took I feel like y'all generation, like, if y'all really, like, what's the word I'm looking for, like, I don't know, tune into, or like embrace this whole movement to, like, put your mental health first.
Exactly.
It's going to create, like you were talking about breaking a cycle, like, it's going to break a cycle that has been around for generations. And it's gonna be like, it's gonna be wild, because it's gonna be like look at Lonnie be singing around, singing, exactly, joyful, and guess what? You're just gonna let, it's the disrespect for me.
Like, okay, birds, okay, we understand that you're flying, but do you have to make all that noise?
But yeah, like, to be able to maneuver through life and be a kid, to be joyful, to just be able to embrace, no matter what your situation is. Like, I feel like there's a lot of things, like, as black people, we focus on the struggle, and we need to tell people how we struggle. And listen, if I struggle, but, like, my children, they can know my story, but they don't have to feel the effects of my struggle.
Exactly.
And I think that once a lot of people, or once the majority realize that, we will bring into the world, like, a whole generation of healed individuals, because we'll be healed in a way. But yes, child, thank you for sharing. As always, I appreciate you for digging deep. I wasn't, oh, child. I wasn't expecting it, but I do appreciate it. And it's going to benefit you. Like, thinking about, like, I don't know what this podcast is going to end up a year from now, 2 years from now, but the video will be up there. Like, as a simple self-reflection, like, a year from your birthday at the end of the week, a year from your birthday, you're going to be 17, you're going to be preparing to graduate from high school, like, or transitioning into your senior year. Like, to go back and look at that and think about where you are in that moment and where you was at 2 or 3 years ago, you know, and to be able to have something that's documenting your reflection, like, and I know you journal and things like that, but just another way to do it. So before we close, we're gonna close for real this time. I have 2 affirmations. It's always the little dogs.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they just pack with so much, like.
But that's a huge. That dog could run over that dog.
On him. They be having so much confidence, and I love that.
All right, with the serious. Let me do our life together. So I have 2 like affirmations that I want you to repeat, and then on anybody watching this video, we're gonna say them slow. So I'll say it first. She'll repeat behind me. And I'll probably say it sentence by sentence. Feel free to join us. It's just really something to kind of hold ourselves accountable for and hold ourselves to and speak. Like, there's so much power in the tongue. Like, no matter what you believe, if you believe in the Bible, you believe in God, you believe in the universe and all that, there's so much power in what you speak. And so right now we're going to speak some positive things to close out this episode. So the first one is, I will be intentional.
I will be intentional.
About being in a healthy relationship.
About being in a healthy relationship.
With first myself.
With first myself.
And then those I'm connected to.
And then those I'm connected to.
Either family.
Either family.
Friends.
Friends.
Or who I'm dating.
Or who I'm dating.
Okay. And then the second one is, I will trust myself.
I will trust myself.
To know when the dating relationship.
To know when the dating relationship.
I am in. Is toxic.
It's toxic.
And honor myself.
And honor myself.
By removing myself.
By removing myself. I need that.
Amen. Amen. All right, y'all. Peace.